Okay, we are going to continue with our data and processing modeling, but this time we're going to look at our DFD, data flow diagram. Well, basically, the DFD show how the data move inside your system. They don't care about the algorithm, the logic, the processing, but they focus mostly on the flow of the data. That is why it's called a data flow diagram. Alright. So basically, it is not concerned with how the system actually process the data. Alright. So that is one key things that we need to remember when we are dealing with DFDs. Okay. So in order to use DFD, okay, we have symbols. Depending on your syllabus, you may use different symbols. All right. For processes, data flow, all right, the data store, and what we call entities. Okay. So, for something to qualify as a process, it has to have input and output, and the output must actually be different from the input. Okay, because if a process only have input but does not produce any output, then the question is, why should we need this process in the first place? And it's going to be very weird if you have a process that only produce output without any input. Okay, but at the same time, if you have a process that receive input and output, but the input and output are actually the same, then this process doesn't do anything as well. Okay, then the data flow is nothing more than just an arrow to show movement from one part of your system to another part of the system. All right. Well, sometimes you need to store data. Okay, so in that case, it goes into your data store. All right. It doesn't matter whether the data store is a file or a database, because again, we are not concerned with how the storage is carried out. We are concerned with the flow of the data to, or maybe from, the data store. Okay. Then lastly, we have an entity. Okay, entity can be a lot of things. It could be the user, it could be another system. All right, but it's usually classified as an entity because it's outside our scope of study.